As the Katchatheevu Island issue becomes a political hot button this election season, we are being joined by Brij Khandelwal. He is the original petitioner of this case, someone who filed the petition way back in 1974. Mr. Khandelwal, thank you for speaking to NDTV. Let me begin by asking you, can you please inform our viewers what made you file this petition? What made you go to the courts?
Well, I thought no government whatsoever had any business to part away with any part of the territory of India. You can only add, you can't subtract. That was the original premise. And I thought it was insulting. How can any government just give away, become so magnanimous and part away with the territory? Then what is the use of national unity and Akhandata and all that? So that too, I felt very badly hurt, emotionally hurt. So I thought I must do something about it. And the only way I could raise my voice or protest was to file a petition in the Delhi High Court, which I did. That was it. That is how it started, because I had real fears that this small tract of barren 200-acre land could someday become a major problem for Indian military reasons or maybe logistic reasons or whatever. And if the neighbor becomes hostile someday, which it did eventually, whole 1980s we saw how hostile Sri Lanka was, then that fear was real. So because of that fear and concern for the unity of the country, I filed this petition. That is all.
And what was the principal submission that came from the government side at that time?
Well, I had wanted the whole process to be stopped immediately, and this transfer to be to be sent to the parliament and discussed and then get it organized. But that didn't happen because there was emergency in force. 1971 external emergency was in force, and they said my fundamental rights were suspended. So I couldn't plead for implementing the fundamental rights because I had argued that as a secular person, I would like and visit all the temples and mosques and churches. And there's a small church over there on Katchatheevu Island. So my plea was maybe someday I will go there and worship, which of course the court didn't permit because they said I had no business, no locus standi in the case. So I couldn't argue that case. That was it.
What did the government of that time say? Because this petition is Brij Khandelwal versus Union of India.
Yeah, so the Attorney General, he raised a preliminary objection that I had no locus standi in the case. I had no business, and I was not at all concerned with the transfer of the island directly, and therefore I should not be allowed to file this petition. That was it. But my concern was rather broader and larger and futuristic in many ways. It was very futuristic because after 50 years, this gin comes out of the bottle suddenly, and it becomes a major issue here. So,
and at that time in 1974, when you approached the court, were you all by yourself, alone, and did other plaintiffs also joined in the course of your legal battle?
No, I was alone initially, but later on some other people joined. And probably it was clubbed with some other cases. I have no knowledge of that, but I was the first one, and I filed a petition for the first time.
And you were a journalist then?
I had just begun my career as a journalist, came out of IIMC, and I was looking for some job or some work, but that's besides the story. This issue was a major concern, emotional concern.
Why emotional?
Emotional because a country, how can you we had already suffered partition, give a whole parcel of land to another country, and now here in a smaller way, of course, this was also was being given away just to justify, I don't know what. They said they wanted improved relations with Sri Lanka, relations would be cemented and strengthened. They were already pretty good. But I don't know why this was done. And now we are suffering because our fishermen are being arrested every now and then by Sri Lankan Navy, and they're not able to move around freely, catch fish over there. So this has not been good. But again, the problem if you look into the future, this island could again become a bone of contention. Because if someday some hostile parties take over Sri Lanka and they try to lease it out to China or America and they start installing missiles and nuclear bombs over there, what will happen? That fear is there in my mind even today. Yes.
Do you feel a great degree of insincerity on the part of the government then, that it did not really foresee what could happen now?
Oh, it was a very casual approach. They didn't take it seriously. How can you just ignore the larger interest, the future interests of a country? How can you part away with a part of your land? That I never heard of it anywhere in the world. But they have done it. And then the subsequent government, they should have taken measures, which they didn't. In fact, in 1977, Janata Party came to power. They should have done something about it. They didn't. They said, no, for better relations, it's okay. And then, of course, later on, BJP came to power, the Congress came to power. And for all these 50 years, people were sleeping. Suddenly, the gin comes out of the bottle, and now it becomes a big issue, which it really is a big issue, yeah. I mean, people who were responsible for it, they should be taken to task. How did they do it? How can you give away a part of your land? We are concerned about POK, Kashmir, and yeah, out of charity, you are just donating an island to a country which has not been very friendly with us.
And Mr. Khandelwal, what did the courts adjudicate on your petition?
It was disposed of because I had no rights during the emergency. Nobody was serious, neither the government nor the court. In fact, if the courts want, it can be taken up even today.
Are you planning to revive this petition?
No, now a lot of water has flown down Ganga and Yamuna, and I'm not too old for all that. But yeah, but Modi government has taken it up. I hope they do something about it.
And it's the petition says that issue a writ of prohibition or any other appropriate writ, order or direction preventing the respondent from ceding the island of Katchatheevu to Sri Lanka without making the necessary amendments to the constitution.
Correct.
It could have become a big political talking point. Do you think the government of the day did not make it a political talking point then?
Yes, the opposition is to be blamed for it. Most certainly.
Yeah, the opposition.
Because whoever was in the opposition, all these parties which today are part of the ruling alliance, they were in the opposition. Why they didn't do anything about it? And I'm not sure, because I've not studied it. I would like to know whether a constitutional amendment was at all moved and passed by the parliament. I have no idea, because some discussion could have taken place if it had been moved into parliament. But, we have to study the reports.
Yes, Mr. Khandelwal, what exactly was the historical evidence that you had submitted in your petition?
No, I had nothing historical. I only knew that it was part of India till 1947, and it was given to India. Or after that, it continued to be part of India because all the cases were fought in Tamil Nadu relating to this island. So there was no reason to justify giving away this island to Sri Lanka. Absolutely no justification.
And now that you are seeing this entire political back and forth which is happening between the government of the day and the Congress, what are your reactions? 50 years later, everybody seems to be waking up to it.
Yeah, I mean, never too late. And politics, of course, has taken a U-turn, which is good, actually. People should know, even if it sensitizes the people, the rulers, it would be good. Because people should know you can't just give away your territory to just anybody. You can't do that. It is an emotional issue. And this party, which is in power, they swear by Akhindata and unity of India. They should do something about it. Just talking won't help. What concrete measures